Welcome to the GameRamble video review for Atlantis, Pearls of the Deep, narrated by me, DarkCloud. As always, the full text version of this review can be found on the GameRamble website linked below. The TLDR is that Atlantis, Pearls of the Deep doesn't have much of a story, but it does have plenty of levels to complete for fans of Match 3 games. The fact that the spears drop from the top of the screen is a refreshing change of pace for the genre, and the game's physics-based nature also adds an element of unpredictability. Overall though, it's a very chill game that's perfect for players who just want to sit back and relax. Gameplay receives an 8 out of 10. The game is very laid back and quite addictive. Graphics receives an 8 out of 10. The visuals are polished but rather basic. Sound receives an 8 out of 10. The music is a little limited but quite soothing. The overall score for Atlantis Pearls of the Deep is 8 out of 10. And now for the full review. According to Atlantis, Pearls of the Deep, Atlantis was a tranquil realm until it was pulled into the ocean after a terrible disaster struck. However, Atlantis was shielded from destruction by an ancient artifact that the city's queen rebuilt herself. This game opens with the artifact being destroyed by a secret enemy, which again places the city in peril. This causes the queen to turn to the mermaids for help by gathering ancient pearls from a nearby ruin. These pearls contain mystic powers that may save Atlantis, but only if they can be found in time. As interesting as this story sounds, it is pretty much forgotten as soon as the game starts. The gameplay is very much the focus of Atlantis Pearls of the Deep, which is not a bad thing, but could leave players who appreciate a good story with their game somewhat irked. Thankfully, the gameplay is good enough that after a while we barely noticed that the story wasn't really going anywhere or revealing anything new. Instead, we were focused on the addictive task of clearing away pearls via physics-based Match 3 gameplay. Match 3 games are nothing new, and there are already plenty of other titles in the genre, but Atlantis offers a refreshing take on the formula by having the spheres drop from the top of the screen. The goal is still to match 3 or more spheres of the same color to make them pop, but the physics and the fact that the pearls do not stick together makes things a little more tricky. The levels also start very simple but quickly became more elaborate, making it harder and harder to accurately land your pearls where you intend to drop them. The heart of Atlantis Pearls of the Deep is 105 levels spread across 7 chapters. Each chapter features a different background and levels that introduce more obstacles and contraptions. Players can complete levels by clearing away all the specially marked pearls, but can earn stars by fulfilling additional criteria, such as clearing away all the pearls and completing the level within a certain time limit. Up to 3 stars can be earned per level, and these can be spent unlocking the 7 power-ups in the game. The power-ups range from a bomb that clears a circle of pearls around it, to lightning that can clear a random selection of pearls, and a rainbow that can clear all pearls of a particular color. These power-ups appear randomly while playing after being unlocked, and can make a big difference. We like the fact that the game shows you an animation of the power-up in action, so you know exactly what you're spending your hard-earned stars on. In addition to the inverse puzzle bubble style primary levels, Atlantis also throws a couple of bonus levels at players every now and then. These include Peggle-style pachinko levels, where the goal is to snag all the stars, as well as straightforward hidden object-style scenes where players must find and click on specific items hidden in the background. These levels provide a welcome break from the main game, but are not quite as addictive. The main game can be completed in no time, but there's still fun to be had afterward. Our favorite part is the 15 challenge levels that open up after completing the game, as these really test your skill and luck. Most of them require a bit more thought to complete compared to the primary levels, and some of them had us scratching our heads occasionally. Then there's the Zen mode, which simply tasks you with clearing all the pearls on the level at your own pace. As the name suggests, this mode is quite peaceful, but the achievement for completing this mode 1000 times is sure to give completionists nightmares. The gameplay for Atlantis Pearls of the Deep is simple but addictive, and while there are no difficulty options, the levels do become more challenging towards the end. Unlike most Match 3 games, it's impossible to really lose a level, although you can mess things up to the extent that it's better to restart. This is usually the best course of action when you manage to clog up a gear with your pearls, which makes it impossible to get to certain spots. The game also doesn't penalize you for ditching unwanted pearls into the abyss, but some levels make this impossible, which forces you to deal with everything you're given. Physics can be a little wonky at times, and it's easier to abuse the fact that you can launch multiple pearls in quick succession to brute force your way through certain levels. The fact that pearls don't have to be stationary when 3 or more of them touch also makes things a little easier, as the pearls tend to bounce around when launched from a great height. Overall, the game was addictive enough to hook us right to the end, and to keep playing the Zen and challenge modes even after finishing all the other levels. Visually, Atlantis Pearls of the Deep is a fairly simple looking game, but this is not necessarily bad. The game should run on almost anything, and keeping the background simple makes it easier for players to concentrate on the puzzles without distractions. The game can be played in full screen or window modes, and you can also turn off the high resolution and detail, as well as custom cursor options if you really have an old PC and still want to play. One thing fans of match-3 games will really appreciate is the option to toggle colorblind mode, which is something that a lot of these types of games tend to overlook. The audio is also very basic, with only a limited number of tunes, but thankfully none of them are annoying. The combination of soothing music and the hypnotic clink of the pearls as they bounce together makes Atlantis Pearls of the Deep a very relaxing game to play. The game is mouse controlled and everything works as it should, while the interface is straightforward to navigate. Finally, it's good to see that the game allows for multiple profiles, so more than one person can play the game without interfering with each other's progress. Overall, Atlantis Pearls of the Deep is a relaxing and entertaining game that is perfect for chilling with after a long stressful day. It's also a fun game to play if you want something soothing to pass some time without having to overthink. Some of the more challenging levels can become frustrating due to the amount of obstacles and the erratic way in which the pearls can bounce sometimes, but there's also the Zen mode to unwind with. If you're not a fan of puzzle games, this is probably not going to be the one that will change your mind, but fans of the genre, or anyone who can appreciate a good casual game, will definitely get their money's worth with this one. Thanks for joining me for this Atlantis Pearls of the Deep PC review. Remember to like, subscribe and share. Until next time.